Happy Monday. Welcome into Sport and Order. We are right in the middle of a baseball, perhaps massive changing. I'm very excited about what these two gentlemen are going to say about spin rate and what should happen to our pitchers out there who are cheating the game and haven't cared until now because they are going to get caught. And, of course, the NBA playoffs rolling along, and Julio Jones with a new address. A lot to cover on this edition of Sport and Order. With you every Monday, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. My name is Mark Carman. Thank you for being along. Let's introduce our two contestants today. First off, the man who is tweeting more about the New York Yankees and their fourth place standing, and just honestly, maybe they need to fold the franchise. You should be reading the Yanks Go Yard website and listening to the podcast. Also, the Sports Fire Pod. Hello, Adam Weinrib. How are you?
Hello, Mark Carman. Yeah, if the Yankees folded the franchise, I'd have an amazing summer ahead of me. Hating the Yankees is really the only thing I'm missing. If I hated them, God, it'd be great.
Matt Verderame is not a Yankees fan, but has lost to the Yankees a zillion times in the playoffs as a fan of the Oakland A's. But you guys, I think you both share a New York Knicks love. Matt, of course, is our national NFL reporter for Fan Side of the Stacking the Box podcast. Verderame, you bowed out of the playoffs, but you made it, and you won a playoff game. And Derrick Rose was great for a minute, so congratulations on that.
Well, it's the it's the least embarrassing season in 20 years. So let's sign for that and go from there. As they apparently now are trying to sign Kelly Oubre. We'll see.
Yeah, that's not a good idea, but that is not on today's 7-question list, which there are 7 questions. First 1 to 4 wins your Sport and Order battle. Adam, since he is actually living on the East Coast, somehow in my mind that means that he gets to go first today. Verderame, now our Midwest Rockford, Illinois-based Verderame, will take the second hole today. We're going to start with the LA Lakers. And Lord knows I did have a smile on my face watching the Lakers go out to the Phoenix Suns. That was glorious. But I am stunned by it. I thought the Lakers were going to win it all. I thought they'd all get healthy. But clearly the toll of the bubble, Anthony Davis hurt, LeBron not himself with the ankle. And now people are wondering, is this the end of the Lakers? Which seems a little premature, but hey, you can maybe make a good argument. Question is, will the Lakers get back to their championship level next year? Adam.
I mean, the Lakers essentially did play at a championship level when both AD and a non-compromised LeBron were on the floor together this year, right? I thought the era of LeBron as a championship contender was over after his first year trying to drag spare parts in Los Angeles, and then boom, Anthony Davis trade. He drags himself back up, makes guys like KCP better, and they win another title. They were even poised to upset the 2 seed in this series with depleted LeBron before AD went down. Spoiler alert, but no team functions as well without its most important player. We're drawing closer to the end of the LeBron era, but we're not there yet.
Drawing closer. That's an interesting way of putting it. Verderame, what do you think about this Lakers squad?
I think they will stay in title contention because they have 2 of the 5 best players in the league when they're healthy and on the court. And the NBA is all about star power. That's it, right? But here's the deal. Davis has not played 75 or more than 75 games in any year except for 2, 2017, 2018. Other than that, he's hurt all the time. He's not on the court all the time. LeBron now needs a maintenance day every other week, okay, and has only played sparingly in 2 of the 3 last seasons. I do not think they're a favorite anymore. I don't. Like, they're still very good. They'll still be in the playoffs, but they're going to lose Schroeder, who's been important to them. If you look at their numbers this year, with and without him, big difference. So, look, don't get me wrong. Like, anyone who thinks they're going to fall off the face of the earth is crazy, but they're not as good as some of the other teams, especially out east right now. They're not.
There is a long list to go through, as I'll call time on Verderame, in the entire Lakers woes and how come Montrezl Harrell was never figured out or a better role for him, and now he's probably out the door as well. I love what Adam said, but I think that Verderame underlined the best part of this, and that's you can't count on Anthony Davis. That's just been proven over time. The dude cannot stay on the basketball court. I don't know if that's going to change. Clearly, Charles Barkley's right when he says on TNT, the dude has to get with a better trainer or something. He should come back looking like the most chiseled AD of all time. Does he have that in him? He hasn't had it to this point. So, yeah, if he's healthy, they're fine, but to bet on it just seems a little bit crazy. So, Verderame, for underlining that, I'll give you the point here. 1-0. As we take a look at the NBA playoffs, and, I mean, really, has it ever felt more wide open than it does right now? The Lakers out, James Harden injured. Joel Embiid far from 100%. Not that anybody had the Sixers as the favorite. The Clippers barely getting by the Mavs. That was a great series. Who's your pick to win it all? Matt Verderame, who do you got?
Milwaukee. And I don't care if they're down 1-0. Milwaukee. They're the best team right now that's left. You have Giannis. You have Holiday. You have secondary scoring in Middleton. You have a team that's really motivated after being embarrassed in the bubble last year. Like, I look at Milwaukee. If Harden can't come back in the series or he's not the same guy, I don't care that Brooklyn won game 1. I don't care, because Milwaukee prepared as though Harden would be there. You can get by in adrenaline for a game. You're not getting by for the whole series. And out west, I like all those teams. I don't think any of them are better than the Bucks.
And the Bucks shot terrible in that game as well. Adam, what do you got?
Yeah, it's not going to be the Boston Celtics. Isn't that all that really matters? I think the Milwaukee Bucks, the Bucks should be the favorite in the East right now. We got a huge game coming up in 2 hours that'll determine if that's right or insane. I think the Clippers are the favorites in the West. I think they shook the monkey off their back by catapulting past Dallas on the heels of 45 from Kawhi. I think we're on the verge of an awesome 7-gamer between them and the Jazz, and LA is going to take that too, win the West, and beat Milwaukee for the title. But you're right. It is wide open. I think the NBA champion is going to be whoever comes out of Utah, LA.
Wow. The NBA, Utah, LA. That's so interesting, because the Clippers just look so incredibly dysfunctional to me, but then they came back from 3-2 down. Kawhi played incredible basketball. Paul George bothers me to the end of the earth watching him, but then all of a sudden he steps up and makes huge plays. I think I'm going with Verderame, though. The Bucks feel like a safer pick than the Clips. A lot of Adam's got faith in the Clippers that I just can't go with. So Verderame out to an early lead here, 2-0, as we look at LUKA Doncic, an incredible series, nearly averaged 36 a game, 8 rebounds, over 10 assists. Only Russell Westbrook. This is kind of amazing. It also speaks to the era that we're playing in. But nonetheless, I'm bringing it up. Only Westbrook, 35-10 in a playoff series. Those two players in the history of the league to do that. That's impressive. But, of course, LUKA lost. Should the performance be less noteworthy since the Mavs, they did lead the series 3-2. They were up in game 6. They were at home, but they end up losing the series. Adam, do you ding them at all because they lost?
No, I think it should be more noteworthy, considering his teammates were so ineffective. They really had to go to Boban in a last-ditch attempt to swing the series, and it almost worked. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum and dance on graves, but Kristaps Porzingis is horrible, which is basically the only thing that's brought me joy over the past few weeks. The Mavs would have helped LUKA out more by spending the $158 million on rare Pokemon cards. Doncic is a special basketball player who ran into both a shoulder injury and some free throw yips at the worst possible time in this series, but he can't do it all. As for Doncic versus Trae Young, that's a conversation for another day, but I think both men deserve their flowers. There's nothing wrong with what LUKA just put up.
That's a true story. Doncic and Trae Young will probably make it out of Sporting Order at some point here, but I actually think that I give the edge to LUKA. But here, Matt, do you ding him for the Mavs losing or no?
Look, because I agree with everything Adam said, I'm just going to take this time to just say, if the Knicks had signed Porzingis, okay, they would be screwed beyond words. Screwed. Everybody talks about this rebuild. The rebuild started when they didn't sign him to the max. Okay. As for LUKA, who is the second best player in that series for them? Tim Hardaway Jr. And then he got hurt and they were just done in game 7. That was the end of it. Right? Like, to me, give him all the kudos in the world. He played great. They played against a team with 2 bona fide superstars and a bunch of guys who can shoot, and he almost beat them by himself.
See, and it's just so, and then we're all obviously giving Adam the pointer because Verderame it was a phenomenal summation. It's true. He deserves more credit. Guys who literally take the entire team and put it on their back like LUKA did. You can't look at just, he lost or such and such. LeBron gets dinged for that, and it's unfair at times when he was going up against KD's Warriors. No one was beating that team. Totally unfair. And it's unfair to LUKA, and congratulations on a phenomenal series. I still don't love his game, though, but that's just, I'm like literally the only person that says that. The fadeaway from 17 with a hand in his face, it's not the way I want to see basketball being played, but it's clearly working in big ways for LUKA. Let's look at the Atlanta Hawks, who came out and beat the Sixers in game 1, but no one, like, I haven't heard Atlanta mentioned 1 second on this show or any show really, and yet they blew out the Knicks. That was an impressive series win. They're up on the Sixers. I'm wondering, do we need to just pause a second here and take the high-flying Hawks a little more seriously in the East, and actually they could be in the Eastern Conference Finals and make it a great series. Verderame, what do you think here? Do we need to take the Atlanta Hawks a little more seriously?
I think it depends on what we're looking at. Are they going to go to the final? No, they're not going to beat Brooklyn or Milwaukee. Could they beat a hobbled Philly team? Yeah. Because here's the dirty secret with Philadelphia. When Embiid's hurt, they're not all that daunting. Like Ben Simmons cannot shoot. So if you have a night where Seth Curry isn't going crazy from outside, Tobias Harris is okay, they're a very good defensive team, so they're always in the game. But if Embiid is legitimately hampered, they're very beatable. And we saw in the Knicks series, look, the Hawks can shoot, man, and they scored 75 points in the first half. They're a good team.
I got one Atlanta Hawks fan texting me all the time saying, "I'm telling you, he's got the Hawks to win the whole thing. He's loving the bet at points bet, the whole thing." By the way,
he's the only Hawks fan in the world.
He's one of the few. That's true. Adam, what do you think here? Should we be taking the Hawks a little bit more seriously?
Yeah, I feel like everyone's taking them the right amount of seriously. Like, I think we can all agree they might beat a hobbled Sixers team, and I think we can all agree, like Matt said, they're not getting past the Nets or the Bucks. I mean, their ceiling is an entertaining conference finalist, and that's fine. But did game one feel any different than like the Orlando Magic beating the title-winning Raptors in game one? Like, was it really determinative? Trae Young's approaching his ceiling right now. His confidence is sky high, and he walked in that building. They maybe didn't expect much of him. He orchestrated an awesome victory, but Embiid didn't look that bad. They came back once sort of the pressure was on. They made it a close game. I think there's every reason to believe in Philly, but even if Atlanta gets past them, that's the end of the road.
The way you just summed that one up, what did you say? We're taking them exactly the amount of seriousness that we need to. However you put it, that was a beautiful job by you, Adam Weinrib. I'm giving you the point for that summation. You're both basically saying the same thing here, but I think Adam's pushing back that Philly's going to lose this series a little bit more, which I tend to believe somehow the Sixers going to get their act together. Atlanta's, when you're relying on the red hot shooting, that tends to fade in a long 7-game series is what I'm expecting this will be. Hey, Verderame, this is for you. Speaking of Atlanta, as we go to football, Julio Jones, a new home with the Tennessee Titans. There was a little bit of rumors that he was going to land with Verderame's Chiefs. That didn't happen. Titans are sending a 2022 second-round draft pick, 2023 fourth-round pick, to Atlanta, and going back as Jones and a 6th-rounder to the Titans in 2023. Will Atlanta regret trading Julio Jones, Adam?
They're not going to regret trading Julio as much as they're going to regret drafting Kyle Pitts and embracing another half measure of a rebuild. When the team selected Pitts, it was like, all right, Arthur Smith going all in on the final years of this current offense, Matt Ryan forever, got it. And now we're moving forward with a rookie tight end, no QB of the future, and we're letting one of the best receivers in football go for a package that is objectively middling picks. I don't know how any Atlanta fan views this as anything other than a surrender, especially with Matt Ryan still at the helm. You can trade Julio if you have to, but you can't do so while the infrastructure is halfway between two eras.
Surrender. That's a terrible word if you're a Falcons fan, but probably spot on. Verderame, are they going to regret trading Julio?
No, I mean, in the sense that they need to rebuild. Like, they literally had to trade Julio Jones because they could not afford to sign their draft class. That's why they traded Julio Jones. Okay. And Tennessee was in on him. Peter King pointed out, nobody else was. I can tell you firsthand with Kansas City, they were never in on him. So anybody who was connecting those dots was either just making it up for a segment or not very informed. But regardless, look, I think for Tennessee, it's great. For Atlanta, like, I agree with Adam. At some point, you have to tear that thing down. They should be trading Matt Ryan next offseason, and they should have traded back instead of drafting Kyle Pitts. Get a bunch of picks and rebuild it while Tom Brady finishes out his 800-year career.
Wow. It's such a just gentlemanly way to go about sport and order, giving I agree with Adam. And we'll add into the surrender. I feel like we should get some Pat Benatar going on here if I'm naming the artist correctly, which I think I am. Hill's laughing at me, so I believe I did. Hey, Adam, you're up here 3-2 Titans fans, or rather Falcons fans. This is not a good day to be an Atlanta Falcons fan. We here on Sport and Order feel your pain, and losing one of the all-time greats for a 2nd and 4th-round pick is just straight brutal. Also, speaking of straight brutal, well, that's a little harsh, but Tony La Russa, he just passed John McGraw for the 2nd most wins all-time for a baseball manager, as we go to baseball here to wrap up the show with 2 questions. Some believe that the game has passed La Russa by. He's using the bunt frequently, way more than the other managers of today. La Russa's having a lot of conversations like, what do you mean I can't bunt with runners at 1st and 2nd and nobody out? That makes a whole lot of sense, which for old school Carm, that actually does resonate properly. But the bottom line is that Tony's doing things differently, and he's saying some odd things. Will La Russa turn out to be a net positive or a negative influence for the contending White Sox in 2021? Verderame, what do you think?
He's going to be a positive. And everybody who loves to just scream at old people because it's fun and it's in vogue on Twitter, they don't understand the sport of baseball. He's a great manager. And by the way, who's the betting favorite right now to win the American League? Oh, I don't know. The White Sox, who are the best team in the American League, who are loaded, who have the prospects that they want to get even better. And Eloy Jimenez might come back in the last month or so. That team's stacked. And you know what he's really going to pay dividends? The playoffs, which he's been in a million times. He's a phenomenal manager.
Verderame all in on Tony. Adam, you going the other way?
Well, the photo of him wearing the hat cocked to the side and the South Side jerseys had the most positive influence anything has had on me this year. So thank you, Tony. It's been a strange ride for La Russa, and the White Sox, excellent play, buoyed by starting pitching, makes you think that new pitching coach Ethan Katz deserves just as much, if not more, credit than La Russa. That's Lucas Giolito's high school pitching coach, by the way. That said, he has managed to weather the PR storm. Clearly doesn't care what people have to say about him on Twitter because the font's really small and he can't read it. So I'd say the culture under him and around him is too strong to be derailed by his worst impulses. I agree he's a slight net positive. There's a reason the White Sox are where they are.
It's a great point that the culture around him is buoying La Russa and Tim Anderson saying things like we're Tony's kids, and sometimes kids don't agree with the parent. But Verderame, I'm with you to tying it up here because you underlined what I think is the whole reason why he's here. The dude knows what to do in the playoffs. Ricky Renteria last year, nicest guy in the world. He completely blew game 3 against the Oakland A's. That's why Tony is here in the first place. And hopefully he'll be up to speed after a 162 game season. Nobody is going to mess up this White Sox team. They're just too good, especially in that division. Now, come playoff time, how deep they go, that's a whole nother story. Verderame 3-3 here as we go to question 7. And here we go with Major League Baseball and their crackdown on spin rates. It is officially here. We're seeing the effects. Trevor Bauer, his spin rate across the board on his pitches down 10%. Garrett Cole's down 6%. Nobody's doing anything different. Everyone's looking the other way. No, don't read into the numbers. Nothing's actually happening. But, of course, something has been happening. But we all know that guys are going to try to continue to cheat, especially those who would not be successful at all or perhaps are in free agent years and they want big contracts. So, my question is this: what should the penalty be for pitchers caught in the act of using a banned substance to allow them to get hitters out? They should not be doing that. We all know this. Adam, what should the penalty be?
Yeah, this is a funny one because it is steroids in the 90s, right? It's another game of innovate or die. You've got minor leaguers telling Sports Illustrated, I will not make it if I don't do this, which should be a wake-up call to baseball to either legalize it or penalize it heavily. Your call. It really is it really in MLB's best interest to just hard pivot in the middle of a season, though? You see Bauer and Cole surreptitiously changing things, hoping no one will notice. Like, is that what you want? I think they should halt this conversation, reassess things in the next CBA talks this offseason, because a 10-game suspension isn't going to do it. It's either 50 games or it's nothing.
Wow. So doing it on the fly, not the answer. Interesting. Clearly, Major League Baseball is not agreeing with that because they are doing that, but interesting way to look at it, and you can deal with it at the end of the year. Matt, what should happen?
I'd put it in at the All-Star break, and I would give them the same penalty that guys take for steroids. You do it once, 80 games. You do it again, the season. You do it a third time, you're done. You want to see guys stop? You take the money out of their wallet. They'll stop. They'll stop right away. If they know they're going to get suspended for half season without pay and then suspended, and by the way, the way they enforce this thing, go out, every couple innings, do it randomly, middle of it, stop the game for a minute. Who cares? Baseball already takes 9 hours. Go out there, check their hat, check their arm, check the jersey, the whole deal. And they'll stop. They'll stop. It'll take a few years. They'll stop.
Wow. Those penalties are harsh.
It's the same thing guys do for steroids.
I know.
How is it any different?
Well,
you're cheating. You're using a substance to enhance your performance.
I don't know why it's different to me. It feels just a little bit different than actually taking a needle and completely altering your body composition. But to the point that you're making here, you want basically it's going to be a sideshow, it'll be a circus out there if they do that. Okay, here they come, and now we're going to wait. And I mean, maybe it would be entertaining, but that's just a rough look for the game. I don't know, and I don't know a better way to do it though. How are you going to do this?
You can do it during the TV timeout. You know, the guys come out to warm up. You check him right as he comes out. Let me see your glove. I see your arm. I see your hat. They'd catch guys at first, and guys would stop doing it.
Yeah, and Adam wants to wait and assess after the year. You want to follow up on that? I saw a reaction.
Well, yeah, just for me, it's Cole, it's Verlander who's coming back from Tommy John. It's Max Scherzer, it's Trevor Bauer. It's the entire league. It's not just like these bottom of the run guys. So that's why it disturbs me so much when you got an pulling Gio Gallegos off the mound and being like, hat police, you got a weird hat. And meanwhile, Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer clearly got advance warning from Major League Baseball, it would seem. So it doesn't feel like things are on an even playing field right now. That's why I want to wait and reassess. And I want Major League Baseball to decide if they really want to do this, because they've got a sticky stuff user in the Hall of Fame right now named Gaylord Perry. So, like, what's the deal here?
Interesting. Okay. This is a tough one at the end of the day here, but I guess I'm signing up for the Verderame sideshow because Adam's like willing to look past it maybe a little bit because baseball, that's what it's been. We've always cheated. This is the game. We are a cheating game. But I'm going to, I guess, lean towards integrity and let's just, hey, you guys are going to stop right now and we're going to actually see some more offense, which we're going to enjoy. Listen, congratulations to all the amazing pitchers out there, but do it naturally. It'll feel better. And I think we'll all enjoy the game a little bit more. Verderame, you're eking it out on a sport and order victory for the sideshow that you want to make baseball be. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. I'm all for the temporary sideshow because it's ridiculous. It's like when Brady Anderson was hitting 50 home runs in the 90s. And there was like an SI article about it. And he literally was like, yeah, I rollerbladed more this summer and my legs got stronger. That was his rationale for how he hit 50 home runs. And they have these guys who are complete gas cans who come in and it's like, oh, hey, look, I learned how to throw a power sinker 100 miles an hour. Like just stop it. Stop it. Win with your natural talents or get out. I
don't want to call it any names, but somehow Ryan Tepera was the NL reliever of the month. No one saw that one coming. Something happened over there. Meanwhile, I think Adam's still like defending the ghost of Alex Rodriguez when he was going so well, and then all of a sudden he got caught in a Yankees uniform. Am I at all right about that?
That's my least favorite Yankee of all time ever. I can't do that anymore. Like I'm resigned to steroids. I don't celebrate them. I just know what's happening.
Right. Well, that's true too. Hey, thank you for watching Sport and Order today. Thanks to Adam. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to everybody who helped out today. We're with you every Monday, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, except when we're not, but most times we are, depending on the holiday week like last Memorial Day weekend. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.